It's quite the project here. Just slow going. I've got a pretty good system figured out. What I did.
I'm Jeremy Drobak, mortgage master and airplane builder, but this is what I love. Let's get you home.
So I was debating how to share this story with you guys, and I wanted to share the story of how I built this airplane, this Kitfox airplane, and what all went into it. But I didn't want to do a step-by-step video on airplane building. And if you watch my previous videos, you're going to see how I did inventory when the kit arrived and some tools and things that were needed. But once you get that inventory done, it's time to start building. And where would I start? I would start right here with the Kitfox manual. It took me about 10 months to get this plane built, and the key for me getting it done so quickly was staying after it, logging the hours, as I would say. And I'd work 8 to 5, 8 to 6, come home, work on the plane on the weekends, and it took about 1,200 hours to build. I worked on it about 30 hours a week until I got the thing done. I wanted to, hopefully maybe inspire somebody to build an airplane, but also if you're not up for the time commitment, just buy something that's already there. It is a lot of work. It's no joke. I have the utmost respect for anybody that completes an aircraft build. Aviation goes back to the Wright brothers, really, and those guys figured it out with hand tools. They didn't have all the cool power tools and technology and stuff, all the stuff you're going to see me using. They didn't know what a Dremel tool was, right? But the Wright brothers got it done, and by God, I'm a firm believer, like, anybody can do it if they put their mind to it. I learned how to do it watching YouTube videos and with this Kitfox book. So Kitfox does send a very thorough manual, and so let's just crack it open. When you get into this, you're going to see a couple general pages and some builder tips and things, and then the first thing is the horizontal tail assembly. And so that's really where it all starts, and it starts with a lot of woodworking, really. So working on the ribs, we're moving the tape. So there's tape holding these boards apart, and just got to go through one by one, take the tape off. And then we're going to sand it down with some 220 grit sandpaper. And I'm just basically getting these things ready to varnish. So get them all done up and get them varnished. And so with the horizontal stabilizer, you've got to fit all of the ribs. So Kitfox sends the wood ribs, but they all need sanded and fit in the exact location. So you go through the tail and you mark, where each rib's going to go, and then you've got to sand down the end of it a little bit and get it to fit right on the tube. You've got to do that with each piece, with each rib. And so you'll see me here going through and doing some of that. You can see I've got all these ribs fitted, and I'm working on just this last part here, and then we'll get these Hysol'd in. This is the game plan for the day. All right, so here fitting the ribs, and these guys go in here, and they don't fit, right? So you got to sand them down, and Dremel tool. We're just gonna real lightly, already varnished them, so on the back I'm just scuffing it up a little bit so we get good adhesion, and then we're gonna trim
the trailing edge of these. We'll see how it fits. So we basically want, that's not even close. This edge we don't sand. This center edge where these two come together, and we're doing the trailing edge, and on this we sanded the leading edge. Well, this guy still doesn't fit here. Fit check. Definitely is going to need to take some off. So this is the edge I don't really want to mess with. I'm just going to real lightly scuff it. And then this. Same thing on this one. We're going to end up Hysoling these into place, and that'll make up for any mistakes I make when fitting them. But obviously we want to be close. The other thing I'm doing is, since I varnished these, I just gotta scuff it up where the Hysol's gonna hit. And scuff this one. Scuff it up. Just took forever.
Once you get that general fit, the other thing you got to do is varnish them. And I did a lot of the varnishing. I did some of it before I did the final fitting, and I did some of it after I did the final fitting. So there, you can see a little bit of that in these clips here, but
this is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like a takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes, and you can rock and roll with the attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. You're the new MC, you got the remix. Keep it on repeat, just let the beat kick. Everywhere you go, you bring the roof down. Everybody knows you got your own sound. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. The way you like it, oh yeah, you like it. The way you like it now.
So yeah, I'm working on that. Let me show you here what I've done. So these are all covered in the varnish.
There's a lot of varnishing. So, and with the varnish, you put it on, you got to wait for it to dry. Put it on, put more on, wait for it to dry, and so there's always something else to do on the kit. So just another tip: if you're taking this on and you want it to move kind of quickly, don't put a coat of varnish on and go watch TV. Put a coat of varnish on and then go work on something else. There's always something else to do. It's never ending. Until I got to the very tail end of the project, maybe I ran out of things to do for the day while I was waiting on something to dry, but there's always something else to do. You can see, as if I flip through the manual a little bit here, how we work. You work all these different, it's a lot of, again, sanding and fitting, and you've got to put these stiffeners on the ribs, and just getting it all to fit. Now, once you get them fit, then it's time to glue them on, and the glue they use is called Hysol. So I'm going to show you guys how to mix that up.
Time to mix up some Hysol. I have mixed this stuff up so many times, it is not even funny. This is how you do it. 50-50, right? So by weight. I'm gonna go a little more. I got a couple pieces I'm gluing on. I don't want to run short, so we're gonna go 10 grams. I'm gonna go a little bit more because I got to put it in the syringe. 12 grams. 12 grams of white. You can see how much is left, and I bought tubes of dispenser stuff too, so now we're going to put 12 of this on, so I need to go to 24. Okay, there we go. Get the mixer, and this is going in between aluminum and steel. So we need micro balloons. We're going to sprinkle some on here. Not sure if I'm doing this right. It just it doesn't give like a measurement. The micro balloons provide a buffer so that you don't get corrosion. All right, and then we mix. This is airplane building. It involves mixing up a lot of Hysol. Sometimes you add cotton, locks. Sometimes you don't add anything. The tube dispensers are really nice. They go in one of these guys, and there's like a dispensing tube.
And so mixing up Hysol, I can't tell you how many times I did it. Just never ending mixing Hysol up. You get everything glued up. Tip for sure, and I think it may be in the manual, but definitely a tip for you would, if you put the Hysol on, go back through. I'd let it set for maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, and then put a little denatured alcohol on your finger. Just dip it in some denatured alcohol and go back over that Hysol, and it'll smooth it right out. It makes it a much cleaner, nicer look, and also gives you, so you got the fit and finish side of it, but also it gets rid of any of the sharp edges, saves you time in sanding. So highly recommend doing that. The other thing you're doing when you're working this whole horizontal stabilizer is reaming, and also the fuselage, you're reaming. Really, the whole airplane's got stuff to ream on it. Now, let me show you what reaming's all about.
All right, so in the reaming department, this is a reamer, and this is the 1/8 reamer, and there you go. Check that out. So and then I've got some cutting oil. That's the page I'm on there. So all those circles, we got to ream all that. A couple different size reamers, but this is what we're working on. All right, so there's about a bazillion holes to ream out here. I'm going to show you guys like one. maybe 2 if you're lucky, and just kind of show you how I'm doing it anyways. So you can see here, all these little holes need reamed in these tabs here. When you ream, you just kind of put this through here. Now sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. They say it's best to pull through. So you want to keep the drill nice and straight, and you put it in forward, but you pull it through. And what that does is cleans out the paint and make sure the hole is the proper size. And there you have it. That is reaming in its finest. I have a ton of holes to do, and it's not fun to watch, and I've just got to get it done. So I'm going to let you go. I will catch back up with you later. I will be reaming here for a little bit.
And so you can see, you know, the whole frame's been powder coated on this plane, and the powder coat, they just go through and spray it all on, and then you've got to go back through and clear that powder coat. Every time you think you're done reaming, you'll find somewhere else to ream. But once you get the stuff reamed, then you can get the bolts in and start hooking stuff up. Now the other thing with the horizontal stabilizer that you're doing a lot of, or some of, or is a time-consuming item, you've got to get these like bushings and to fit with the bearing, and they for some reason they don't fit. And this is probably one of my biggest complaints with the build. I don't see why Kitfox can't send bearings that fit inside of each other. Like, it is so hard to sand these things. You got to put them on the drill press and like use this piece of sandpaper. I mean, I spent hours working these things down with the drill press. I can't imagine what it would have been like without the drill press. Eventually you get there, you got to keep after it, like most of the airplane. And I know, you know, the rules say that the builder has to build 51% of it. Again, I don't see why they can't send parts that fit a little bit better than they actually do. It is what it is. Be prepared for that. It is, if you watch some of the other builder videos out there, you'll see these guys complaining about the same thing, and it's very, very real and very time consuming. So you go through, I mean, just follow the pages in the book is what it comes down to, but you're going through and you're reaming holes and you're sanding ribs and attaching them. Eventually you'll get to put your first piece of electrical things on. That's the trim motor, and that just really just bolts on. You know, as you go through the book, you're going to run into, okay, I got step 1, 2, and 3 done, but I can't do step 5 yet. And so I would mark the page. I wouldn't mark it off completed, but I would mark the page with a little sticky so that I knew I had to go back there at some point and finish that up further along in the build. There's a lot of work that you do that you get through like 10 of the 12 steps and then have to stop, and then after you go back through and put fabric on, you'll go back and finish it up, or at some later point. The horizontal tail was fun for me in the sense that it was the first step in the project. It was underway. Like, I've been waiting for this kit for a year, and I finally get to start doing something with it. As I go through those first initial steps, you got a lot of energy, I guess you'd say. And so I was working on that, Thanksgiving weekend and things like that, leading up to Christmas, just kind of working on that tail. And when you finally get the tail done, then you get to move on to the control. So the control section's cool because you're thinking, oh yeah, cool, I'm putting controls together, like my first steering piece, like that kind of thing. But boy, those controls are every step of this project. Just be prepared for setbacks, and you're gonna think it's gonna take, I'll go do this, it'll only take an hour. It'll take 4 hours. Like my build log shows that. So let's see if I can grab that real quick. This is the build log. So let's take a peek here. So on 11/26, I started inventory, 2024. Got the inventory done, and I was on to reaming. So reaming, ream, 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 and then onto those stinking bearings I was telling you about. Then I got it to get into the ribs and varnishing and things like that. All right, so let's see here. Inventory took 7 hours. Wow. So a whole day of inventory, and then I got into, you know, couple hours on reaming and bearings, and then those ribs, all that varnishing and sanding and stuff. Just the initial round of it. This doesn't count the wings or anything. This is just for that horizontal stabilizer. I spent 25, 30 hours working on sanding, fitting, varnishing, and Hysoling those horizontal stabilizer and elevator ribs on. So it's no joke. Like, you're gonna look at the instructions and be like, oh, there's only 5 pages on this or whatever. It's gonna take a lot longer than what it looks like when you're staring at that book.
All right, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Next time we're gonna get into the control surfaces and hooking those up to the fuselage and just getting that all ready for fabric. Remember, I'm a mortgage master, not an airplane builder by trade. Take this advice for what it's worth, free. And if you want to help me put some 100 low lead in my tank, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. I'm Jeremy Drolbeck.